Two texts, one hidden code. You've probably heard of them. The Emerald Tablet, the Kybalion. One etched in legend, said to be carved in emerald by the god Thoth himself. The other whispered into print in 1908 by three anonymous adepts calling themselves the Three Initiates. Two texts, two voices, two timelines, and yet one message hidden in plain sight. As above, so below. All is mind, different words, same vibration, because those who know. These weren't written centuries apart. They were spoken from the same source, the same stream of eternal wisdom, passed from Atlantis to Kemet, to those few bold enough to listen in silence. And what if I told you? There is a pattern buried in both. A hidden law, a bridge between stars and atoms, spirit and substance. Stay with me, because in this video, you'll discover the secret thread connecting Thoth's Emerald Tablet and the Kybalion's 7 Hermetic laws, the true origin of Hermetic wisdom, and why it's resurfacing now, and how these ancient codes unlock something that no religion, school, or system ever could: sovereignty of the soul, mastery of the invisible, and remembrance of your eternal self. This isn't philosophy. This is initiation. You didn't find this video, it remembered you. The Emerald Tablet is not just a text, it's a vibration. It didn't come from a scribe's pen or a philosopher's desk. It came from a moment of direct contact between consciousness and creation. It's not a book to be read. It's a code to be unlocked. That which is below is like that which is above. This is not poetry. This is mechanics of the soul. According to legend, the tablet was written by Thoth, known to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus, and to the initiates as the mouthpiece of divine mind. He was not simply a man. He was the living interface between spirit and form. He carried the architecture of reality in his very being. And what he left behind in the Emerald Tablet was not a map of matter, but a mirror for your inner architecture. 12 or 13 cryptic lines, but every one of them alive. Each phrase holds layers of meaning that stretch across dimensions: physical, mental, spiritual, celestial. You don't read the Emerald Tablet. You experience it. You meditate with it. You let it dismantle everything you thought you knew and rebuild something truer in its place. When you read the words, "All things were made from one, by the thought of one," you don't just see the sentence. You feel it unlock something in your chest. You start remembering what it means to live in harmony with the one mind. Have you ever felt that your thoughts aren't just private noise, but active instruments creating what you later call life? Have you noticed patterns that repeat until you learn the lesson behind them? Have you had dreams where symbols feel more real than anything in your waking life? Then you've already begun to feel the frequency of the Emerald Tablet, because its truth is already coded into your being. You may not remember who you were when you last studied it, but your soul does. That's why it called you back here. Not because you're curious, but because you're ready to reopen what was never truly closed. And here's where the mystery deepens. Because over 2,000 years later, in a completely different form, from anonymous voices cloaked in silence, came another document, one that echoes the exact same truths, not as riddles, but as laws. We call it the Kybalion. And what you're about to discover is that it doesn't compete with the Emerald Tablet. It completes it. The Kybalion is not just a book, it's a decoder. Published in 1908 by 3 anonymous authors known only as the Three Initiates, the Kybalion came quietly, with no fanfare, but carried within it the 7 keys to reality itself. And like the Emerald Tablet, It did not explain the universe to your intellect. It recalled it to your soul. Think about it. How does a text written over 2,000 years after the Emerald Tablet speak the same truths in different form? Because both were downloaded, not constructed. Both were encoded from the same cosmic source, one through Thoth, the other through a transmission tuned to those ready for the next octave of awakening. The Emerald Tablet whispered in symbols. The Kybalion speaks in laws. And those laws? They are not rules, they are not commandments, they are reflections of how consciousness moves. The all is mind. As above, so below. Nothing rests, everything moves. Everything is dual. Rhythm compensates. Every cause has its effect. Gender is in all things. These are not teachings, they are mirrors. Have you ever noticed that your emotions come in waves, no matter how hard you resist? That's rhythm. Have you ever been so caught in fear, only to later realize it was only the inverse of a desire you couldn't admit? That's polarity. Have you ever set an intention and seen strange synchronicities ripple into your life days or even hours later? That's cause and effect. These laws don't just explain your experience, they create it. To the initiate, the Kybalion is not read once, it's lived daily. Each line becomes a tool, each law becomes a compass, each moment becomes a lesson. And maybe, just maybe, you've already started living them without knowing. You've sensed reality bending with your thoughts. You've seen emotional patterns flow in cycles. You've begun to understand that truth isn't about belief. It's about alignment. You didn't learn these laws. You remembered them because they were never outside of you. So now the question becomes, why do both the Emerald Tablet and the Kybalion speak of the same truths, but from two different worlds? What's the bridge between symbol and structure? Between the divine riddle and the universal equation? That's where the secret lives. And that's what we uncover next. How could a short, mystical tablet, possibly thousands of years old, and a structured modern book, released in 1908, speak as if they were written by the same hand? Here's the truth. They were. Not the same author, perhaps, but the same source. The Emerald Tablet and the Kybalion are not separate transmissions. They're two mirrors facing each other, reflecting back a single principle. Reality is not what it seems. It's what you believe. The Emerald Tablet says, all things were made from one, by the thought of one. The Kybalion says, the all is mind. Same message, different voice. The Emerald Tablet says, as above, so below. The Kybalion expands, as above, so below, as below, so above. This law shows the mirroring between planes. One uses poetry, the other uses precision. Both are musical notes in the same symphony. You've felt this, haven't you? That quiet harmony between what your heart intuits and what reality confirms. That sense that something invisible is guiding the visible. That beneath all the noise of the world, there is an order. These two texts, the Tablet and the Kybalion, simply show that order in two ways. The Emerald Tablet awakens your right brain, intuition, symbol, dream. The Kybalion empowers your left brain, logic, structure, law. Together they return you to balance. Together they unlock the full spectrum of your mind. Mystic plus master, seer plus scientist, soul plus creator. And now, you are the bridge. Because if you can understand both texts, if you feel them converging in you, it means something. It means your mind is beginning to operate like the initiates of old, not divided between mysticism and reality, but walking as one who lives in both. You are the meeting point, the living tablet, the law in motion. So now the question isn't whether the tablet and Kybalion are connected. The real question is, what does it mean that you're ready to see it now? And how will you live now that the code is active? Let's answer that next. Knowing truth isn't enough. Even remembering it isn't enough. The emerald tablet whispered to your soul. The Kybalion taught your mind. But the initiate's task is something greater. To live the code, to become the bridge, to move through the world not with belief, but with alignment. To live like a Hermetic initiate in the modern world isn't about rituals and robes. It's about awareness in motion. It's about being the calm center when polarity pulls others apart. It's about choosing intention over reaction. It's about holding the memory of divine law even in a distracted, digital world. Every thought becomes a choice. Every emotion becomes energy to be transmuted. Every word becomes a vibration you take full responsibility for. You begin to live like Thoth, not by becoming someone else, but by finally becoming fully you. You feel anger rising, and instead of reacting, you observe the rhythm, ride the polarity, and respond with clarity. You wake up anxious and remind yourself, all is mind. You retune your thinking, and thus retune your day. You face chaos at work or in family, and choose stillness, becoming the law in form, not just theory. You become what the Emerald Tablet described. The power is perfected if it is turned into earth. The wisdom is real when it's lived. And if you've watched this far, it means one thing. You are no longer just a seeker. You are a carrier. The tablet and the Kybalion are no longer ancient texts. They are active frequencies inside you. You are the thought of the One, remembering its own power. You are not just observing law, you are participating in it. Your awareness is alchemy. Your presence is the ritual. Your life is the path, so walk it. With reverence, with curiosity, with quiet power. Because this isn't about mastering secret knowledge. It's about remembering what you already carry. And when you live that truth, you don't need to convince anyone. You become the vibration. You become the invitation. As above, so below. As within, so without. As you align, the world changes. Take a breath. You didn't just listen to a lecture. You followed a thread, a signal, a frequency you may not have been able to name until now. You didn't find this video by accident. The tablet, the Kybalion, this path, they found you because you were finally ready to remember. You've always felt there was something deeper, that the world's noise didn't match your inner clarity, that symbols meant more than they told you, that words like energy, mind, vibration, truth, all pointed to something real inside you. You weren't imagining that, you were awakening to it, and now you've remembered enough to walk forward as a keeper, not of ancient texts, but of living law. Because once you've seen how the tablet and the Kybalion speak in harmony, you can never unhear that music. You start to notice it everywhere, in conversations, in choices, in your reflection, in the pause before reacting, in the whisper between what happens and how you respond. This world doesn't need more information. It needs more alignment, more embodied law, more people like you walking quietly, clearly, and consciously, not with ego, but with deep-rooted remembrance. You carry the thread now. You are the continuation of a lineage that began in stars, passed through stone, and now lives in you. So if this stirred something in you, if it felt more like remembering than learning, you're not alone. Subscribe to stay on this path of remembering. Comment below. Which law or truth landed in your soul today? Share this with someone you know is feeling the call too, because this is not just a video. It's an initiation, and this is just the beginning. As above, so below, as you remember, the world awakens.